Hey guys, Tarke here, and I want to do a quick video talking about farming Uberlab in SSF with the changes they've done to the enchant system, where you're now presented with 3 Helm Enchants, a Glove, and a Boot enchant every time you do Labyrinth, and you get to select which one you want, and you don't have to commit to what item you want to put on. You see the options, and then you pick. So, I've only done 9 Uberlabs on this character. I would have actually done more, but I didn't have enough enchant bases. I didn't have enough bases because there were just so many good enchants out there. I've managed to get pretty much best in slot enchants for all the builds I'm currently playing. So I've only pulled out the items that I personally enchanted myself. Obviously, I've picked up a bunch of random enchanted items just from playing the game. But for my Arc Trapper, I've gotten pretty much best in slot enchants. Of the 9 Uberlabs I've run, I probably had twice enchanted for maybe half. I will do nearby dark shrines. I don't go out of my way to get all the dark shrines. So, maybe you could say I had 2 enchants for all of them at most, if you were to say that of the 4 labs I did that I didn't have twice enchanted, I might have gone it from a dark shrine. Let's say 18. This is the result of 18 enchants at most, probably less, probably like 15, but anyway. So we've got Commandment of Reflection, which is the best in slot glove enchant for a lot of builds. If you don't know, when you get hit, it makes a clone. I've got Arc deals increased damage for each time it's chained. You could argue if you would want this Helm enchant or the Arc deals 1 additional, but still for an Arc build, this is arguably the best Helm enchant or the second best enchant. And I've got the 120% crit chance if you haven't crit recently, which is the best in slot boot enchant for this build. For the Corsair character I'm about to play, which I'm playing because of this Helm enchant, I've got Despair Curse Effect, which is the best enchant for that build. Another trigger Word of Reflection when hit, and 2% life regen if you were hit recently, which I would either want this enchant or the movement speed if I hadn't been hit recently, so tied best. I've gotten an Ice Trap damage penetrates 10% cold res, which I want to do some Ice Trap stuff later in the league, and that's basically the best enchant for that build. For the Ignite build, I've gotten a Flammability Curse Effect, which is one of the best Helm enchants, but on Eye of Malice, which you can do a bunch of shenanigans with this helmet, basically a lot of damage. And then the 3 bad enchants I've gotten, which are actually still all pretty good. Dash Travel with 100% increased distance, it's solid. Smoke Mine grants additional 30% increased movement speed. Really good enchant. It's just a shame that at the time I had this, I didn't have a good base to throw it on, so I just threw it on this trash, unfortunately. I wish I just had I should have just thrown it on a random unique, but I wasn't really thinking. I just picked out a random helm of a decent eye level from my stash. And Sunder has reduced delay between areas in the wave. I actually quite like the new Sunder. It does feel very slow without the Helm enchant, but I've got the Helm enchant. So I might actually do a Sunder build, maybe using that disfavor that I have. But yeah, so you can see that in SSF especially, it's actually very realistic with this new system to farm the enchants you need for your build. You might not get the best enchant, if you go into it saying, I need to get exactly, for example, +1 arc chains, and any enchant which isn't that is terrible, then yeah, you might still have a bit of a grind ahead of you. But with how flexible, builds are these days, just to list off usable enchants for your build, your main skill will usually have, depending on the skill, 1 to 2 decent enchants. There's usually one which is much better than one which is damage, than one which is kind of whatever. But you've got main skill. Auras, if you can get reduced reservation of auras, that's a big one. I actually had, when I went to do the flammability, I had the choice of Flammability Curse Effect or 50% reduced anger reservation, and I was really umming and ahhing, but I didn't really have a good base enchant for the anger, so I went for the Flammability Curse Effect for that one. But yeah, so you've got your main skill, you've got aura reservations, which is quite common, especially since a lot of builds will run multiple auras, meaning it's very likely you'll hit one of those. Curse Effect is very big. You then have guard or movement skills, getting additional charges on them, getting additional mitigation while they're active is very strong. Even if you were to just go for the 3 main ones, which would be your main skill, your aura, and your curse, with the new system, you are very likely to hit one of those. And if you're happy settling on a utility skill, like additional charges of dash or dash movement speed, or steel skin gives fizz mitigation or whatever, then suddenly you've got a lot of options, especially also since the current meta of builds. If you look at what a lot of people are playing, you're seeing a lot of multi-button builds. So you're seeing Bladeful Blade Blasts, you're seeing Unearth, Volatile Dead stuff, Desecrate Cremation, You're seeing cast on crit setups where you can then get all sorts of different enchants based on like what they're triggering. You've got the good old Essence Train Contagion. All of those like Chaos dot builds, all the Vortex stuff, like when you've got multiple skill packages into one, you can hit like any of those one skills. You've then got the multiple auras you're running. With all these builds we're seeing with like Exanuate, you're running loads of different auras. You're so incredibly likely to hit an enchant. So if you're not already in Trade League, sure, you can always just go out and buy what you want on the perfect base. But in SF, if you're not already just keeping a mild eye on what's the layout like today, you should be. I would have done a lot more lab, but I literally ran out of bases I wanted to enchant. Like, that's how good the new system is. So if you're in SSF, some tips on where you can get some decent bases. I always recommend just farming a bunch of Itziri. Get a couple of Itziri steps going. If you have like 3 or 4 Itziri steps lying around, then that's perfect fodder. If you don't get an option of a good Helm enchant, you nearly always get offered a good boot enchant. You can just throw them on Itziri steps. Even if they're low rolled, you could divine them up later on. Have a couple of good gloves around. If you either just have pre-rolled good rares like this one, or you have some influence bases or some like incursion gloves, just keep a few to the side. The good enchants to look out for on gloves would be Word of Reflection is very common. There is of Force, which is quite strong. It shoots out blades, depending on the kind of build that you're playing. There's one, I've forgotten the name of it now, but it drops Consecrated Ground by your feet. There's also Chill, which when you get hit, you shoot out a Nova of Chilling Ground, which is actually very strong defensively. There's actually like a few pretty strong glove enchants, which you can put in any build, and there are some which are like more specifically strong. And then as for helmets, just like if you've got any decent uniques lying around, stuff like Star Conjures, Devote's Devotions, stuff like this is a bit more niche, obviously. And then just, yeah, whatever good rares you have, any influence bases, just keep a couple to the side that, you know, just throw on. Since my last, like, lab farm, I've actually gotten a few decent bases. I've gotten a Devoto's drop. I've had a few 86 Hubrises. So I could probably actually go and do a little bit more lab farming. But because I've got all the enchants I want for my next 3 to 4 builds, I don't feel like a massive desire to do it. So yeah, I've got the perfect enchants for my current character, I've got the perfect enchants for my Corsicara character, I've got the perfect enchants for my Ignite build. I would have to get another set of crit boots for the Ice Trap build, and I've got the Sunder thing, which I'm actually quite seriously considering playing a Sunder build at some point in this league. But yeah, I didn't think I would ever be in the situation in SSF where the reason why I'm not farming lab, because I normally farm lab every single league, is because I've already got all the enchants I want. Like, that seems like such a weird problem to have. And then running out of bases because I've had so many enchants. If you need some general advice on how to make Labyrinth go smoother for you, there are some Pantheon things you can do. So there are 2 different Pantheons that I generally recommend for Lab. Soul of Ralakesh reduces fizz damage taken over time. This mitigates most of the traps if you're bad with the traps. Alternatively, Soul of Raslar that gives you Life Flask recovery. And then otherwise, I just highly recommend just packing an Enduring Cry. If you just carry an Enduring Cry, I recommend most builds just slot it in, but even if you just put it in for lab, getting that just 2k heal like that, bump, you're completely fine. You know, if you completely mess up any set of traps, you'll always have Life Flask, you'll always have Enduring Cry. If you go for Rasada, you can just like, oh, I screwed up, I'm going to stand in the corner for a bit. Enduring Cry twice, and then you're healed to full, let your Life Flask fill back up. Or to be honest, since you've got Enduring Cry now, you don't really need to even have Life Flask, just roll Soul of Ralakesh for some fizz damage mitigation. But yes, I'm Tarke. What's been your best lab enchant pulls in SSF this league? Have a good day. Bye-bye.